Oh boy, we got another huge lawsuit against Valve that just popped up today. Recently, Valve's been catching lawsuits like Pokemon, and they are fresh off a W against the Rothschilds. Only a week ago, they squeaked out this huge W against the Rothschilds. I can't emphasize enough just how impressive that is to beat them. That's like beating Umbrella Corp. Like, that was an incredible win for Valve there. And now they immediately go into round two here with a lawsuit from the New York Attorney General Letitia James, basically claiming that Valve knowingly promotes illegal gambling with their loot boxes in games like CS2, Dota 2, and TF2 that is accessible and even targeted at minors. Now, this is far from the first time this has been a big subject. In fact, many of you might remember in 2018, Belgium actually had a loot box ban. This was during the incredible EA era where they put their own dick in their ass as much as possible with the, sense of pride and accomplishment and surprise mechanic spin they tried to put on like loot boxes and shit. And Belgium eventually ruled that it was predatory, it was a game of chance that would lead to profit or loss, and thus they banned it in Belgium. And fast forward to today, you can't open CS cases in Belgium, it seems. Now, at the time, this was a pretty big deal, and the US and the UK also tried to make arguments that, yeah, this does constitute gambling, but as they went through the process, they then declared that it's not really gambling because you're getting an actual in-game item, you're not getting money. But now, to today, they are now saying that because it has grown so much, this ecosystem through these loot boxes where some items are selling for thousands of dollars or even the famous AK that sold for $1 million not that long ago. And then there's also like these third-party sites that are using CS cases and CS items to instantly turn it into money, where it is just full-blown gambling casinos based around CS items. So they are saying that Valve can no longer use the excuse of, no, it's just in-game cosmetic items. They are now saying that it isn't just a cosmetic in-game item, it carries very real monetary value that leads to people getting addicted to gambling and trying to win them, fundamentally. Now, it seems like Valve might have seen the writing on the wall at some point because they have been making changes to the way this functions in CS. So, like, they have done, Genesis Terminal, stuff like that, to try and change things around a little bit to avoid falling into hot water, but the hot water has come. And Valve is far from the only gaming company that has mechanics like this. It's a very standard industry norm now when it comes to, loot boxes and cosmetics that carry real-world value, especially in mobile games, for example. And other companies have been hit in the past by lawsuits alleging illegal gambling practices in their games. Valve is just the latest target, and they are by far the biggest one. And in the lawsuit, there is some really sketchy stuff. Like, there is a whole section about games causing violence. For some reason, they decided to just fucking toss that little sour nugget in there for no fucking reason. The most dunked upon, the most spit upon, the most debunked nonsense talking point ever. They decided to slide into this lawsuit against Valve on illegal gambling practices. And also, they have very misleading stuff in there, like this section here, where they're saying that they have these near-miss mechanics where they'll show you the gold item and then you'll stop one slot right before it. You'll get the worthless item right next to it while seeing the gold to keep you hooked, like, I was that close, I'll get back into the Crucible now. Except that doesn't happen in CS anymore. That hasn't been the case since, fucking 8 years ago or something? They changed that a long time ago. If you see a gold, you're getting a gold. If it was a red item there, then that would be real, but that screenshot they show there is just fraudulent. And also, apparently, it's taken from an Oni Pixel stream where he even got the gold item there.
You can actually see a Twitch chat with an emote from Oni Pixel. And when they tracked down the exact stream the screenshot is from, he actually wins the knife in the clip. So just blatant misinfo.
You and they.
That's a certified objection moment right there. That is just blatantly wrong. On purpose. That is very, very deceptive there. So, Anyway, there is some funkiness in this lawsuit that's very fishy. Anyway, we're going to get more into the nitty-gritty here in a moment that I was going through on stream. But I do believe most people agree that CS skins and the skin economy, the cases, and all of the shit that's spawned as a result of it, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry here from the cosmetics. I think most people agree it does very much revolve around gambling. That is a real thing. And that means it'll be a really interesting lawsuit to see how it all shakes out, because I think it will be difficult for Valve to once again say, like, no, these are just in-game items, there's no, like, real money there at all, because it's a huge, huge, huge industry now. And this is a very big deal lawsuit that would have wide-reaching effects across many different games, because again, it's not like Valve is the only one that has things like this. Even League of Legends has Hextech cases or crates and Hextech keys, so this is a very big lawsuit. I do find it interesting that they've gone after Valve here for their first big fish, especially in an era where things like fucking Polymarket and Kalshi are extremely accessible to literally everyone and are, by all possible definitions, just gambling, despite how they try and spruce it up by calling it, well, prediction market, that kind of shit. I am somewhat surprised that they wouldn't start going after them when that is becoming very, very normalized to the point where even fucking CNN has a Kalshi partnership. Instead, they would rather go hog wild and laser focus on Valve of all things. That is an interesting decision, if you ask me. You heard Valve is being sued by the New York Attorney General for promoting illegal gambling through loot boxes? I did. In the lawsuit, they say video games cause violence and Valve is responsible. In the gambling lawsuit, they say that? New York sues Valve, alleging its loot boxes are quintessential gambling. Letitia James seeks to stop Valve from promoting gambling features in games like CS2. Since when does Verge not let you read articles without paying? Okay, last time I go on Verge. Citing the alleged promotion of gambling towards minors, Letitia James is suing Valve. Lawsuit claims this is in direct contradiction to the state's regulations on the matter, and the end goal, should the court rule in James' favor, is to put an end to these practices and require fees to be paid in reparation. Landmark lawsuit, should it prove successful, would be another tidal wave in a long-running gaming practice that has faced significant setbacks over the many years since loot boxes first became a popular money-making tool among US-based publishers. I'm old enough to remember when EA tried to rebrand them as surprise mechanics. Illegal gambling can be harmful and lead to serious addiction problems, especially for our young people. The value of Counter-Strike skins rose significantly in recent years, attracting speculators and investors who viewed these virtual items as potentially lucrative digital assets. That is true. We've seen a single weapon command a $1 million real-world price tag on CS2's marketplace. We've watched as the game has straight up crashed over valuation. And that's just Counter-Strike. Valve's really gone full hog, some might argue, with other games that happen to have 2 in their title. Dota 2, TF2, are the Attorney General's other big targets. Valve's loot box model can be especially harmful to children. Certain young users with limited funds can be enticed to start gambling through loot boxes in the hopes of attaining a virtual item that they believe will enhance their status in the game's virtual worlds. Research has shown that children who are introduced to gambling are 4 times more likely to develop a gambling problem later in life than those who are not. In addition, although this case is about illegal gambling, it is important to note that Valve's promotion of games that glorify violence and guns helps fuel the dangerous epidemic of gun violence, particularly among young gamers who can become numb to grave violence before their brains are fully developed. Yikes. Oh. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Holy shit. I just can't believe they still try this. There are plenty of conversations to be had about loot box and gambling and all of that. I totally understand. That's been a conversational topic for years. This is just a dead fucking end, man. I can't believe they still bring this shit up. Actual yappuccino over nothing. I've never even understood the argument. Like, would books and movies not cause violence? Like Catcher in the Rye? You're not old enough to remember when they tried that exact same thing. This video games is just the latest target. Before video games, it was movies. Before movies, it was books. Like, it's always just a popular scapegoat to say this thing causes bad stuff. And then in between books and movies, it was music. Like Elvis, the devil music, stuff like that. They've always done that. It's just changing targets. Elvis was the devil, to be fair. Well, I mean, Elvis was a bad guy, yeah, I get that. But rock and roll, here, to broaden it, rock and roll being the devil's music. That was a very popular thing. A very popular target. So what are we predicting? A Valve winning sweep? Well, this being thrown in here is complete useless gobbledygook. This is absolute mumbo-jumbo nonsense. I don't even know why it's ham-fisted into this. The actual lawsuit meat is somewhat interesting, and I'm very curious how it shakes out here. This is not the first lawsuit about loot boxes and gambling, specifically about, like, gambling that minors can partake in. Like, mobile games have gone through lawsuits similar to this, and it's never, like, resulted in anything overly huge outside of, like, a couple of areas, so I guess we'll see. I'm very interested in this one. Valve is on a hot streak right now of W's. They just won that other lawsuit like fucking 4 days ago. Like, they've got a lot of momentum here. I wonder what Gabe Newell thinks of this lawsuit. You think he's going to leave his yacht over this one? Nah. Absolutely not. He's too busy out there on the sea. Researching, shooting some hoops, grinding. I thought he sold his yacht. Did he get a new one? Do you not know about Gabe Newell and yachts? Dude loves yachts so much, he bought an entire fucking shipyard that produces the yacht that he likes. So now he has a yacht manufacturer for himself. And just got a $500 million research vessel. What was the name of that shipyard, actually? Because I hope he renamed it. Just to make it like Gabe Newell's Fun Factory or some shit. It's a Dutch yacht builder named Ocean Co. He keeps getting sued so much he's escaping the international waters. I bet Gabe Newell doesn't even know that his company has been in these lawsuits. I bet he has no fucking clue. He just gets infinite money checks every, probably quarter. I would say he probably gets paid out quarterly or something, maybe. I don't know how they do dividends over there. But he just gets infinite money and he's like, alright, that's cool. Yeah, go back to doing whatever you're doing. I'm busy. Get the fuck off my yacht. Yeah, I have no idea how this one's going to shake out because this is like a very contentious subject. Because, I mean, at the core of it, it is gambling. Very much so. It definitely is. Always has been. Everyone knows that. So I wonder what'll happen. Probably nothing would be my guess. They should have targeted EA, much easier to beat them. EA's already been targeted. So I feel like they didn't want to do the same target again.